welcome. Today's topic in real estate conversations is going to be on how do I know if I'm ready to buy a house, and what are some of the things that I should be thinking about. So, if you have any friends or family or coworkers who you think might enjoy this or want to be a part of this group, please go ahead and share it. The more the merrier. I'm totally fine if you invite people to the group. I would love it. It's going to be, generally we'll talk about how to do the buy-in side of things, but we'll also talk about how to do the selling side, and then also kind of home improvement projects that are going to be the best bang for your buck. But for those of you who don't know, my name is Amy Hyden, and I'm with Windermere Real Estate in the Mount Baker office of Seattle, which is just kind of south of the I-90 bridge. And I help buyers and sellers all over the Seattle area. So I don't just work in my neighborhood. I do obviously work there, but I also help people as far north as Everett, and then as far south as Tacoma even. And then I do work on the east side as well. So there's some people in Issaquah and Bellevue, Redmond, Kirkland, areas like that. So I kind of help people all over. And I specialize in helping first-time home buyers. So and I think the reason I enjoy working with first-time home buyers so much is because I really love helping people get that, build equity and wealth. And I also really like the education process of teaching people how it works and how to get themselves into a house. So, I mean, buying a house, let's face it, we'll kind of get into it, is difficult, it's confusing, it's scary, it's expensive. If you're in the Seattle area, I'm sure you've read articles, how competitive it is. So, there's a lot of things that people think that it's unattainable. I know that I thought that when I bought my first house with my husband. We just assumed that I didn't have that career that was going to get me into a house, or the down payment that was going to get me there either. So I was just kind of assumed that it was not possible. But I'd like to break those myths because I help buyers all the time that don't have a lot of money buy houses in Seattle. So it is possible, and it's something that I'm able to do. So let's get into it. What are the 3 things that you should be thinking about if you'd like to buy a house? So the first thing that I always tell people is that you really want to think about, can you save money? So everyone here's the down payment rule that you should have 20% down, and you actually don't need to have 20% down. Depending on what loan program you qualify for, you can put as little as 3.5% down. So you really don't have to have a ton, but you will have to think about closing costs, and that's something that you'll need at the end of the transaction. And as a rule of thumb, those are usually about 2% of the purchase price. So as you're thinking about how much money you need, you want to think about down payment and closing costs. So the more that you can save, the better. So if you're able to put down as little as 3.5%, you'll think about 2% added onto that. So you're right about 5% of the purchase price is cash that you want to have. So you want to have the ability to save money, and then you also want to think about with your rent. If you're paying right now $1,800 or $2,000 or $2,200, whatever it is that you're paying in rent, can you actually put down a little bit extra every month and pretend that you're saving for, what if your payment was a little bit higher than that? Does it feel comfortable? Are you able to make it? Are you able to still have, enjoy your lifestyle? But also, sometimes you'll have to sacrifice a little, do you really need that latte every single day? If you're able to start saving some money and it feels good and you're still able to pay all your bills, then you're kind of setting yourself up for what it means to be a homeowner. The other part of saving money is ultimately understanding that home ownership costs money. So you save money to get into the house, but then, you're not going to have the luxury of calling your landlord and saying, hey, the washer machine stopped working, or, something is broken, I need you to fix it, because you'll be the landlord, and that is going to be your expense to get those things fixed. And there's some things with home ownership that, it's just regular maintenance that you have to pay for. So if you can save money, again, every month, and you put that aside into a savings account for your home projects even, that's a good way just to kind of get yourself prepared for what it means to be a homeowner. So I always talk about saving money. If you can do it, if you can start practicing it, it'll be really good, and it helps you on the lending side. Number 2 is what is your credit score? And I know for me, this was one of the big scary factors when I was trying to buy before I thought I could buy a house. I didn't even check my credit score because I just assumed it was really bad because I had a bad credit score from college, right? So how do you, don't be afraid to check your credit score for those things, but also how do you keep yourself in a good standing? A lot of people have credit cards, but they don't, we don't educate enough on what it means to have good credit. So I just think that if you're not aware of those things, you should start thinking about them. If you have a credit card, don't use the max budget. Keep it at just 30% or lower of what you're allowed to spend. Never go above that. They want to see that lenders want to see that you're keeping that you have the ability to pay, that you're not frivolous and always maxing out your budget, and that you do pay it every month, right? So those are just some basic tips. I'm not a lender, so I can't really talk too much on it, but those are things that you should be thinking about, and talking to a lender is a great first step in kind of figuring out where you stand with your credit and how you can improve it. They always will give you advice on how to improve it. And then number 3 is having a game plan. So I say that because there's a lot of people who think about buying a house, but they're not really sure how long they're going to be staying here, or if they're going to be moving, or if there's another school opportunity somewhere else. If you feel like you're going to be in the area for at least a couple of years, then yeah, maybe, it is worth it. But I say at least 2 years just because selling does cost money, and you want to be able to get your money back out of it. You don't want to lose any money. So 2 years, if you do some improvements to the house, you'll be able to get some money back, and it would be worth it. It would be a smart investment. If it's going to be less than that, then you probably want to wait until you know for sure that you're going to be here. The other part of having a plan is talking to your real estate agent or a lender. You really need to have an understanding of what the process is and how to get to be ready. And the best way to do that is to talk to the people who are going to be helping you buy. And so the earlier that you talk to somebody, the better it is, so you really know, because it's not just sometimes it can take a year if you're not really prepared mentally for what you need to do to get into a house. So I went over those 3 things really quickly, but it is, again, the 3 things that you should be thinking about if you're thinking about buying a house is if you can save money on a regular, consistent basis, if you have something for a down payment, if you're prepared to handle, home ownership responsibilities and maintenance, and if you're not, sometimes the answer might be maybe you're not looking for a single family home, maybe you're looking for a condo or a townhouse because you don't want to have to deal with painting the outside or any sort of landscaping. So just figuring out that is also part of it. Number 2 is figuring out what your credit score is and how you can improve your credit score or keep it in good standing. And number 3 is having that game plan so that you know who your team is, and your team again is your real estate agent and your lender. And steps, please feel free to contact me. I'm doing Zoom meetings for individuals, and we kind of go over, we go into a little bit more detail about what the options are. So what's the difference between single family home, condo, townhouse, which one would really be best for me. And we kind of talk about neighborhoods, which area would be the best for you. And then I also put you in contact with lenders if you'd like, so that you can talk about what where you stand, and then what the next steps are to get you ready to be in that position to buy. A lot of people are afraid to talk to lenders. They think that it's going to be a waste of their time if they're really not ready, but lenders are more than happy to help people kind of figure out what the next steps are and how to proceed. And they don't care that if you're not ready now or if you're ready in 2 years. I think it's more about just making sure that you're there and you're ready to go, because it's all about being prepared. So that's all I have for you. It's going to be short and sweet. Does anyone have any questions? I'm going to check my comment. No comments. Yeah, so like I said, today was just kind of getting it started, so it was really basic. I didn't really dive too deep, but I would like to remind you all that if you wanted to have a one-on-one conversation, I'm available. You can go to my website at amyhyden.com, and there's a little book consult button, and you can just pick the date and the time. And then I set up a Zoom meeting. or you can email me at amyhyden@windermere.com. I really appreciate you coming to watch. I'm going to announce the topic for next week tomorrow, and so again, if you feel like anybody else would find this helpful, please share it. I think, like I said, today was just kind of a beginning level, and then we're going to go kind of a little deeper in each of the following weeks. So I hope that you continue to watch, and thanks so much. I'll see you next time.